After 3 years of convalescence, I returned to the capital. My fiancé now had a woman by his side who bore a striking resemblance to me. At the welcome banquet, I accidentally stained her dress. She began to sob and whimper. Pei Yanli, who had always been aloof, lost his temper with me for the first time. Lu Shijin, could you please stop being so unreasonable? Unreasonable? My expression remained blank as I delivered a sharp slap. You think you're special? Shouldn't he see what real unreasonable behavior looks like? I spent 3 years recuperating in Jiangnan. On my first day back in the capital, my fourth sister hosted a welcome banquet for me. All the guests were noble young men and women from the capital. 3 years had passed. The noble ladies who had once been friendly with me were now unusually reserved, each as quiet as a mouse. Even my crown prince brother, who used to sweetly call me imperial sister, now kept his distance, polite yet distant. At my welcome banquet, they poured their own drinks and ate alone. Not one paid me any mind. Until a commotion erupted at the door. Pei Yanli led a woman inside, and the quiet banquet instantly erupted. My crown prince brother was the first to rise and greet them. Brother Pei. Sister Meng. You've finally arrived. The noble ladies, who had been quiet and reserved moments before, now beamed with smiles, calling out, Wan Tang, come over here. We saved a seat for you. The woman amidst the crowd, her cheeks flushed, wore a gentle smile. Beside her, Pei Yanli's lips curved slightly, his eyes sparkling with amusement. A tenderness I'd never seen before lingered in his gaze. Fourth sister relished the drama. She leaned in close, whispering, Sis, did you see? The stand-ins take in the throne, and the pure snow maidens become the villainous supporting actress. If you'd come back a few months later, their kid might have been old enough to run errands. Ever since childhood, fourth sister's mouth had always spouted new words I couldn't fathom. Thank goodness for her 3 letters a month. Even before returning to the capital, I knew about this concubine-born daughter of the prime minister's household, Meng Wandong, whose features bore a 5-part resemblance to mine. I heard this concubine-born daughter had always been raised in the estate. It wasn't until I left the capital 3 years ago for recuperation that she was brought back to the city. At first, because her appearance and dress style mirrored mine, the noble ladies of the capital secretly mocked her as a copycat. The young masters from distinguished families also looked down on her. But gradually, people discovered that unlike my arrogant and domineering self, she possessed a gentle disposition and was deeply considerate. She came up with countless unexpected and novel ideas. Today she would make floral soap. Tomorrow she would create delectable dishes. So the noble ladies who once revolved around me began to revolve around her instead. Even my gluttonous crown prince brother grew closer to her. And even my fiancé, the young heir of the Marquis of Huayan, Pei Yanli, transformed from initially mocking her as a copycat and warning her not to imitate the eldest princess, to now saying, you are you, not anyone's substitute. Rest assured, with me here, no one will bully you. Thanks to fourth sister. Her descriptions painted such vivid scenes, as if I'd witnessed them myself, never having left the capital. But she resembles me? I raised an eyebrow. My gaze fell upon the woman who, startled by my voice, tugged nervously at Pei Yanli's sleeve. I couldn't help but let out a soft click of my tongue. Where exactly? Are you blind? Today, I wore red. Meng Wandong was also dressed in red. A hairpin from the latest collection of the Golden Jade Pavilion adorned my hair. She wore one too. Indeed, she was a beauty. Yet even though she wore a gown similar in style to mine and wore her hair in a bun resembling mine, I saw not a shred of resemblance in her eyes or brows. My words fell on a hushed silence. People turned toward the source of the voice, their expressions difficult to describe. Meng Wandong was the first to recover. The color drained from her face, and suddenly, With a thud, she knelt down. Your Highness is breathtakingly beautiful. This humble servant is merely of common appearance. How dare I compare myself to your Highness? With this kneeling gesture, the crowd exchanged glances. Their eyes filled with displeasure. The crown prince frowned in displeasure. Sister, one's body and features are gifts from our parents. Sister Meng's appearance was determined at birth. Whether she resembles you or not is not something she can decide. You cannot take your desire for everything to be unique out on her. Can you? Take it out on her? I almost laughed. Foolish brother. Couldn't you tell I was scolding you? I was pointing at the crown prince. My gaze swept over every displeased face in the room. 3 years have passed. Yet the eldest princess's temper remains as unpredictable as ever. Before, I only thought Miss Meng resembled the princess. But now, how can the sickly princess compare to Miss Meng? If you ask me, the princess has only her face to recommend her. What? Did you think that by leaving your seats and whispering behind my back, I wouldn't hear? My temper is notoriously bad, everyone in the capital knows it. Father once advised me that a woman should be gentle and graceful. But I've always believed that rather than waste my own energy, it's better to let others suffer. Thus, I never allow myself to be wronged in the slightest. Watching the noble sons and daughters, their forced politeness shattered by my words, fall silent as if struck by lightning, I simply lost all interest. At my welcome banquet, each one looked as if they'd lost a parent. Fourth sister. Thank you for your trouble today. In future gatherings with these people, please don't invite me to sit with them. It's rather unpleasant. I didn't wish to linger. I rose leisurely, preparing to leave. Yet as I passed Meng Wandong, her attendant suddenly gasped. Her hand trembled, and the gift box she held slipped, crashing onto Meng Wandong. The rouge inside stained her robes crimson. The next instant, Pei Yanli's furious voice rang in my ears. Lu Shijin, what nonsense are you spouting? This rouge was made by Wan Tao herself, working tirelessly for days. If you don't like it, just say so. Why must you trample on her heartfelt effort? Pei Yanli and I were childhood sweethearts. He had a cool demeanor, always wearing a faintly detached expression toward everyone. We'd known each other for years. This was the first time I'd ever seen him so enraged. His eyes were narrowed, the depths dark and stormy. Everyone here today came to welcome you back after so many years away. Why must you make this occasion so unbearable? 3 years have passed, yet your temper remains unchanged. How dare you? A sharp crack echoed. Pei Yanli's voice cut off abruptly. A wave of gasps rippled through the room. Pei Yanli's eyes widened in disbelief. It took him a moment to find his voice. You hit me? So what if I did? I snorted coldly. Did I give you permission? Who do you think you are? Daring to address me by name? I've spent 3 years cultivating my temperament. Today, I've shown remarkable restraint. In my younger days, if I heard such backbiting or was snubbed at a banquet, even a passing dog might have earned a scolding from me. Yet they seem to have forgotten I've always possessed this temperament. Someone dared to tread on my sacred ground. Your Highness. It's my fault. I didn't know you disliked rouge. If I've angered you, punish me freely. But don't take it out on the crown prince. Meng Wandong wept. Tears fell in heavy drops. Her face was deathly pale, a pitiful sight. Yet the instant she bowed her head in supplication, I clearly saw a fleeting smile touch her lips. This smile, naturally, went unseen by others, especially by Pei Yanli. His face darkened further. As if seeing me for the first time, he gritted his teeth. Fine. Very well. I never knew the eldest princess possessed such a temperament. The crown prince also pointed an accusing finger at me. Imperial sister. What has Sister Meng done wrong? You're so arrogant. I'll tell Father Emperor to punish you severely. Punish me? I nearly laughed in anger. Go ahead. As Crown Prince, he lacks any dignity befitting an heir apparent, constantly calling me Sister Mang? Brother Pei? Perhaps I should also ask Father Emperor when he acquired so many new siblings? I turned my gaze back to Pei Yanli. Has the Crown Prince forgotten our betrothal? If you fancy this Miss Mang so much, why not beg my father to annul our engagement? That way, you two could consummate the love you secretly nurtured while I was away, a bond stronger than gold. No less. And you? Shifting my gaze to Meng Wandong. I paused, then curved my lips. What are you laughing at? Do you take me for a fool? I may have a temper, but my eyes and ears are sharp. I never even touched your maid. How did she fall? If you're going to put on a show, at least make it convincing. Don't assume this princess is as foolish as the rest of you here. After my tirade, the Crown Prince's face turned ashen, while Pei Yanli's expression darkened. Meng Wantong's face flushed alternately pale and crimson. Every face present was grim. But I was used to it. Pretending not to see, I rolled my eyes. Rest assured, you needn't trouble yourselves. I shall report today's events in full to the old Chancellor Meng and the Marquis of Huayan. No. Tomorrow I shall have a stage erected before the palace gates with drums and gongs, and the entire scene reenacted. With that, I turned away, no longer looking at the abruptly shifting expressions. Yet, as I turned to leave, I collided head-on with a man entering the room. He was tall and imposing, his face unfamiliar. His nose was high and straight, his eyes deep and piercing. A rare beauty, indeed. But my heart was heavy with discontent. Who cared about handsome men now? I snapped. Good dogs don't block the path. Can't you see? Get out! The words barely left my lips before the man's face flushed crimson. His eyes blazed, suddenly bright enough to startle. It was the first time I'd seen someone not get angry after being cursed at. I froze slightly. Just as I was puzzled, someone tugged at my sleeve. Turning my head, I saw my fourth sister, smiling ingratiatingly. Sis, just so you know, if you curse others, you can't curse me, okay? Also, maybe stop yelling at him for now. He's different. You seem to have satisfied him with your scolding. Satisfied? That's a first for me. But judging by his reaction, he truly stood apart from everyone else present. He felt vaguely familiar. Somehow, I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before. Meeting my gaze, the man suddenly stiffened and introduced himself. I am Yi Mingzhou, Deputy Commander of the Dragon Roar Army. Congratulations on your Highness's recovery and return to the capital. His expression was solemn, his voice booming like a bell. Yet his movements were frantic. He shoved the gift box into my arms and, before I could react, took off like the wind. Even after boarding the carriage, I remained puzzled. Yi Mingzhou? Who is this man? Fourth sister wasn't entirely sure either. The deputy general who returned to the capital last month with old General Qin for his report. I hear he only joined the army 5 years ago. What's the Longshao camp like? To climb to this position in 5 years. This man, he's no ordinary fellow. Her tone didn't suggest she'd invited him to a banquet. I furrowed my brow slightly. You don't know him? Huh? Should I know him? We exchanged bewildered glances. Fourth sister's eyes were clear yet foolish. After a long moment, she looked away nervously and swallowed hard. Sis, aren't you going to see what he brought you? She eagerly unwrapped the exquisite wooden box on the table. The moment she saw its contents, a gasp escaped her lips. My own eyelid twitched slightly, and I couldn't help but curve my lips. This uninvited guest. His gift is rather intriguing. It was a short, compact dagger. The blade was razor sharp, gleaming with a faint, icy light. Its design was simple, save for the handle, which was inlaid with a translucent blue gemstone. Not bad. Quite to my liking. Though this welcome banquet had been unpleasant, this dagger made the evening less stifling. That night, I slept exceptionally well. The next morning, I rose early. As the hour for court approached, I had a stool brought and sat before the palace gates. As each dignitary approached, my maidservants announced their names. Minister Li, your daughter mocked our princess at yesterday's banquet, saying she remains a sickly weakling after 3 years of convalescence. Counselor Zhao, your son also insulted our princess at the banquet, calling her ill-tempered and worthless beyond her looks. And then there was Minister Wang. The maids by my side had trained since childhood on the drill grounds. Each was sturdy and boasted a powerful voice. Thus, even as the ministers made a wide berth around me, these words reached their ears without missing a syllable. Today's morning court session promised to be quite lively. For no sooner had court adjourned than Father Emperor sent word summoning me to the palace. Outside the imperial study, the crown prince knelt. Spotting me, he clenched his molars. His previously aggrieved expression instantly darkened, clearly seething with resentment. What brings you here? I smiled. Certainly not to plead your case. My smile seemed to provoke him further. He gritted his teeth and retorted. What are you gloating about? You're only favored because father pities you. You grew up showered with endless favors, while Sister Meng endured years of hardship at the estate, never enjoying a single day of ease. Why must you torment her the moment you return? He still called her Sister Meng without pause. Hopeless. I couldn't bear to watch this foolish brother's silly face any longer. I swept past him and pushed open the imperial study's doors. Father, this crown prince is useless. Depose him. Behind me, the crown prince stomped his feet in fury. Inside, Father Emperor remained largely expressionless. The crown prince's lack of judgment is one thing, he said. But why must you follow his foolishness? He dismissed the crown prince and the eunuchs, then handed me the memorial he had just approved. Seeing the words denouncing my arrogance and resentment over slapping the Marquis of Huayan's heir at the welcome banquet, I felt no surprise. These censors, ever so quick to sniff out petty squabbles and fume over them, yet 3 years ago turned a blind eye and deaf ear to the military supply embezzlement scandal. How amusing. I tossed the memorial aside and handed the scroll in my arms to Father. With each page turned, his expression darkened. By the end, he was seething with rage. They actually dared. What is there to be afraid of? I picked up a teacup, poured myself a cup from the teapot, and sipped it slowly. 4 years ago, the Western Rome army launched a surprise attack. The Chunyang forces were slaughtered overnight, leading to the fall of Chunyang City. Not a single citizen survived. Back then, these same ministers wrote in their memorials that the incident was sudden and our army was caught off guard. Unprepared? What a joke. Nothing but excuses for their own corruption. Armed with nothing but scrap metal. It was no different from hand-to-hand combat. How could they possibly withstand the Shirong's elite troops and superior weapons? My health is indeed poor. But spending these 3 years recuperating in Jiangnan was merely a cover. The real purpose was to secretly investigate the reasons behind the Springyang City defeat. This matter was both my own initiative. It was also at His Majesty's behest. For no one would suspect a conspicuous invalid. The Chunyang City affair was deeply entangled, with far-reaching implications. The Qi clan, the crown prince's maternal family, and several ministers were implicated. Others could be dealt with later. They could be dealt with slowly. How many outrageous deeds had the Qi clan committed over the years? Relying on the crown prince? The imperial in-laws wielded power, blinded by greed. The crown prince, easily swayed, acted without discernment, following his whims. Could His Majesty truly intend to place the great Yuan dynasty in his hands? His Majesty understood all this. Yet hesitation still gripped him. He was not a mediocre ruler. But his nature was indecisive, perpetually weighing options over and over. Especially since the Qi family wasn't just the crown prince's maternal clan, it was his own. This case had far-reaching implications. If the court officials handled it poorly, it could trigger turmoil within the government, undermining its very foundations. Not to mention deposing the heir apparent of a nation. Therefore, when he said, "Allow me to deliberate on this matter," I wasn't surprised. Having secured the favor of annulling the betrothal to Pei Yanli, I departed the palace. In major matters, Father Emperor may be muddle-headed, but in minor ones, he was utterly precise. No sooner had I left than the imperial edict annulling the betrothal was delivered to the Marquis of Huayan's residence. When Pei Yanli arrived clutching the edict, I was sipping apricot blossom wine brewed by my fourth sister. Spotting Pei Yanli from afar, she declared, "You two talk. No peeping. I won't listen." Then she turned and entered the side hall just a wall away. Pei Yanli remained oblivious. Upon entering, he coldly stated, "Princess, we need to talk. Yesterday, he'd been slapped by me. Today, his expression was calm. He'd reverted to his former icy detachment. My mood was still fairly good. I didn't dwell on his rudeness, merely lifting my chin. What is there to discuss?" He tossed the imperial edict toward me, frowning as he demanded, "Why must you push things to such extremes? Do you have any idea what rumors are spreading outside after today's spectacle?" I paid it little mind, brushing the edict aside. What else could they say? That I'm arrogant and insolent, lacking in propriety? Surely they won't be saying that despite being betrothed to me. "You've secretly fallen for Meng Wandong?" At the mention of Meng Wandong, his emotions finally stirred. "I know you believed those rumors before returning to the capital, but my relationship with Miss Meng is pure and proper. There's not a shred of impropriety. You needn't be suspicious or jealous over this." He paused, as if weighing his words. His tone softened. He adopted an air of profound understanding. "She is a concubine's daughter, cast aside by her stepmother to languish in the country estate for over a decade. Now, because of your outburst today, the Meng family intends to send her back to that very place. She is, after all, a living person. By pressing her so relentlessly, are you not driving her to the edge?" "Me? Pressuring her?" I felt a surge of laughter. I didn't utter a single word about her at the palace gates today. Why was she sent to the estate by her mother? That's the Meng family's affair. What business is it of mine? Besides, what business is the Meng family's affair to you? You claim there was never any impropriety between you two. Yet she hasn't come to me in tears. And you rush to take up her cause? I've never minced words. I couldn't tell which remark had provoked him. Suddenly, his fists clenched, a thin layer of anger coloring his expression. "Yesterday you slandered her and me at the welcome banquet. And today you call off the engagement, with rumors already swirling wildly. Isn't this grand gesture just fueling those whispers? Pushing us both into the eye of the storm?" His eyes brimmed with disappointment. "Lu Shijin, had I known you were this kind of person, I never should have saved you when you were captured by bandits during that hunting expedition. Indeed, 10 years ago during the imperial hunt in the capital's outskirts, my horse bolted madly beyond the enclosure. After bandits seized me, he saved my life. That year, the bandits mistook me for some ordinary official's daughter and intended to extort money using me. After all, to protect the reputation of their household's womenfolk, wealthy families would typically pay to make things go away. But they never imagined I was the emperor's eldest princess. Once they learned my true identity, they knew a quiet settlement was impossible. to avoid bringing disaster upon themselves. They set fire to the thatched hut, intending to burn me alive. But I didn't die. Only my eyes were damaged by the thick, choking smoke. Before the fumes knocked me unconscious, I vaguely saw someone rush in. Later, they all said it was Pei Yanli who saved me. Because of that life-saving favor, coupled with the Lady of the Marquis of Huayan's matchmaking intentions. After I came of age, my father, the emperor, naturally arranged our marriage. But, Pei Yanli, was it truly you who saved me back then? A sharp clatter. The wine cup in my hand shattered at his feet. I'd thought that after knowing each other for so many years, I could at least spare him some dignity. But since he doesn't want it, so be it. My eyes may have been blinded by the smoke back then, but my ears weren't deaf. Were it not for the bond between your founding emperor and mine, who fought side by side to establish our dynasties, I would have exposed you long ago. My voice was barely a whisper. I rose, stepped forward, and stood before him with a faint smile. Had you not brought this up, I might have let it slide. Your fiery passion for a woman, rushing to confront me, I even respected you as a man for that. But you chose to mention it. What? Did you think I was blind and heartless? Or that I tolerated your antics all these years because of some romantic attachment? You likely never imagined I knew the truth from back then, nor harbored any romantic feelings for him. Pei Yanli's face grew pale. But I wasn't done. I feigned sudden recollection. Oh, right. You claim your relationship with Meng Wandong is pure? But last year on the 16th day of the first lunar month, you held hands while strolling through White Horse Temple. And last Qixi festival, you kissed passionately in the shadows of Osmanthus Alley. If that counts as pure, then what doesn't? He hadn't expected me to know so much. Pei Yanli's face turned green, then pale, then green again. Yet he clenched his fists, unable to utter a word. He could only watch me, smiling radiantly. Pei Yanli, a dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Don't rush to speak nonsense. Otherwise, I'd truly suspect you're trying to laugh me to death. When it comes to sharp-tongued banter, I've never lost to anyone. When he arrived, Pei Yanli was full of bluster. When he left, his face was flushed crimson, unable to utter a single word. Only after he was long gone did fourth sister emerge from the side hall. She still held an unfinished bag of sunflower seeds in her hand. Her face was full of curiosity. But she didn't ask much. She only asked the most crucial question. Sis, how did you know he kissed that concubine's daughter from the Meng family? I sat down to drink, not even lifting my head. Guessed. She didn't believe me, bracing herself as if facing a major threat. Guessed that accurately? Impossible. Is there someone else writing you letters besides me? Who? Oh my God. Do you have another little sister out there? Am I not your only little treasure anymore? She feigned hurt. She rubbed her head against my shoulder in a clingy way. I won't allow it. I won't approve of this relationship. Indeed. These past 3 years. Besides her, someone else has been writing me letters. 3 years. 6 letters. Each letter detailed the capital's political climate, but most focused on how intimate Pei Yanli and Meng Wandong had become. Yet to this day, I still don't know the writer's name. I'm at a loss how to explain this to fourth sister, knowing she was just playing the fool to lighten the mood, not seriously questioning me. I didn't call her out. I just poked her head with a finger. My heartless retort shattered her. Don't forget. Besides you, I have 4 other sisters. The youngest is only a year and a half old. She seemed to crumble. Then, as if piecing herself back together, she pitifully wiped away non-existent tears and resumed cracking sunflower seeds. Oh, sis. Those noble young masters who were gossiping about you yesterday? Seems they got beaten up at home this morning for no reason. The Lian Wang family heiresses too, their boudoirs suddenly had snake infestations. Heard they've been crying all day. Who could be so kind? Maybe some knight-errant who saw injustice. I listened to her musings. A fleeting image flashed through my mind. Too quick to grasp. I paid it no mind, lifting my cup of apricot wine for a gentle sip. A knight-errant? Who could say? That night in the capital seemed unusually lively. The Li family's daughter knelt all night in the ancestral hall. The Wang family's young lady copied the women's code of conduct all night. The son of Minister Zhao received 30 lashes of the family discipline. The crown prince was confined to the eastern palace, punished by copying the imperial treatise on governance all night. And Meng Wandan was sent out of the city overnight by the matriarch of the Meng family. Yet within days, she returned with great fanfare. For the Empress Dowager had left the palace to worship the Buddha. Along the way, her horse was startled and went wild, galloping madly toward the cliff's edge. Hanging by a thread, Meng Wandan saved her life. The Empress Dowager took a liking to her savior, personally escorting her back to the capital and petitioning for her to be granted the title of Lady of Anyang County. On the 16th day of the 5th month, she even specially invited her to the palace to attend her birthday banquet. The Empress Dowager disliked large gatherings. Few guests attended the birthday celebration. Besides the emperor and the harem of consorts, only we imperial children and the family of the Marquis of Huayan were present. When I arrived, Meng Wandan and Pei Yanli were already there. Even the crown prince, who had been confined to his quarters for a month, was present. They chattered and laughed around the Empress Dowager. Seeing me approach, they all fell silent simultaneously. The Empress Dowager, in particular, gave me a fleeting glance and remarked, "You're back?" Her tone was neither warm nor cold. It felt as though they were the loving family, and I was merely an unimportant outsider. I didn't care. I had the maids present my gifts, then sat down beside my fourth sister. My voice was flat as I said, "Yes. I missed you. How could I not come back to see you?" The Empress Dowager could tell this statement held little sincerity, but she was accustomed to it. She gave her customary cold snort. Only when Father Emperor and Consort Duan approached hand in hand did she break into a smile and order the banquet to begin. Strings and flutes played softly, music and dance filling the air with peaceful harmony. This birthday banquet appeared harmonious on the surface. Yet beneath it, each person harbored their own thoughts. I disliked such occasions. After half a round of wine, I was just thinking of finding an excuse to leave. Suddenly, I spotted Meng Wandan approaching me. Wine cup in hand, her steps measured and deliberate. "Your Highness." She stopped, a smile perfectly balanced on her lips. There was a misunderstanding between us at the welcome banquet earlier. Today, I'd like to take this opportunity to offer you a toast. I hope you can forgive me for any unpleasantness I may have caused. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Pei Yanli's hand holding the wine cup pause slightly. The crown prince also stopped what he was doing and looked over this way. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. Oh, finally. I thought they were going to stay silent all day. Meng Wantan's words were the same as last time. At first glance, it seemed flawless, without a single fault. But upon closer inspection, it was riddled with traps. It mentioned a misunderstanding, yet also demanded forgiveness. If I drank this cup, wouldn't I be telling everyone that last time I was being petty and deliberately difficult? Looking at Meng Wantao, who kept her eyes downcast and appeared submissive, I curved my lips into a smile. "Sorry. I'm not feeling well. I don't drink." Hearing this, she froze slightly. Her gaze fell to the wine cup in my hand, her expression suddenly twisting with hurt. "But Your Highness is drinking it now, isn't he?" I gave no reply. I flung the wine behind me and set down the empty cup. "Oh, So now I can't drink it. This blatant action made her eyes widen in shock. A flash of ferocity flickered in her eyes. But in the blink of an eye, she shifted back to a pitiful expression. Sure enough, His Highness is still blaming me. Her ability to cry on command was quite impressive. Large tears began to fall, instantly drawing everyone's attention. The Empress Dowager frowned, her face filled with concern. Tanger, why are you crying? Did someone bully you? The silk music abruptly stopped. In an instant, the hall fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. Meng Wantao hurriedly explained, Your Majesty. No one is bullying me. I just got sand in my eye. Though she said this, she shot me a quick, panicked glance. Her voice choked with emotion she couldn't quite hide. She looked utterly wronged and pitiful. As expected, the Empress Dowager erupted in fury. Lu Shijin, today is this Empress Dowager's birthday. Tanger is an honored guest I invited. She saved my life. You dare mistreat her before all these witnesses? Do you hold this Empress Dowager in utter contempt? A stage set for drama never lacks actors. The Crown Prince interjected almost immediately. What would my imperial sister dare not do? Grandmother, you are unaware, recently. She not only berated the children of high ministers, slapped the heir of the Marquis of Huayan, and publicly annulled her betrothal, but also incited father to depose me as Crown Prince. The mere suggestion of deposing the Crown Prince sent the hall into an uproar. The consorts exchanged stunned glances. The Crown Prince's mother, Consort Duan, stared wide-eyed in disbelief. Your Majesty. Is this true? Before Father Emperor could speak, the Empress Dowager grabbed the teacup beside her and hurled it at me. But she was old, her strength failing her. The cup fell to the floor before reaching me. So, she could only slam her hand on the table, pointing her finger at my nose. You wretched creature. Emperor! Look upon her. This is the fine daughter of that lowly woman. Just like her mother, crude, vulgar, and utterly lawless. My mother was the emperor's first wife, whom he married against all advice in his youth. Even before he ascended the throne, the Empress Dowager despised her humble origins as a physician's daughter, constantly berating her for her coarse manners. She even disregarded His Majesty's wishes, forcing him to take the Crown Prince's mother, her own niece, as a concubine. Her sole ambition was to elevate her niece to the position of empress. Alas! Even after my mother passed away from illness, His Majesty left the Empress's throne vacant, never yielding. Thus, the Empress Dowager grew increasingly displeased with me, viewing me as a thorn in her side. Today's gathering is clearly a trap. I couldn't care less. Old woman. Your constant use of terms like vulgar and lowly, such harsh words that even peasant women wouldn't dare utter. Let alone my mother. Seeing her face flush crimson, ready to retort, I sighed softly, deliberately interrupting her. Ah, you favor whoever cries first and believe whoever complains first. If you're truly so blind, I have no defense. Then let's do this. If you believe their lies and wish to vindicate them, punish me. Needle torture? Finger breaking? If that doesn't satisfy your rage, have me torn apart by 5 horses or executed by Ling Qi. Once I'm dead, this position will be vacant. Then your beloved benefactor won't have to endure the hardship of being a county princess. You can simply grant her the title of princess to fulfill filial duties before you. Wouldn't that be a win-win? I'd said all I needed to say. How could the Empress Dowager find words to respond? Her face turned ashen, her chest heaving violently as she pointed at me. You. Seeing her like this, I truly feared she might faint. Others feared it too. A crowd gathered around her, soothing her while blaming me. Your Majesty, do not let your anger harm your health. How dare you show such disrespect to our grandmother? Imperial sister, Your Majesty. Look at Jenner. After being soothed back to her senses, the Empress Dowager finally found her voice. You insolent, sharp-tongued creature. Don't think I dare not punish you. Attendants. Enough. Father's thunderous roar cut her off once more. The room fell instantly silent. What is this commotion at a birthday banquet? His face cold. He surveyed everyone present. When his gaze fell upon me, his tone softened slightly. Jenner, your health is fragile. Return to your quarters to rest. The capital is in turmoil these days. Unless urgent, remain within the estate. Do not venture out, nor see anyone. He had confined me to my quarters. In truth, he was ensuring no one dared trouble me. I understood the implication, and the Empress Dowager and her entourage certainly heard it too. The Empress Dowager gasped in disbelief. Your Majesty, how can you be so partial? Father Emperor only gave a cold snort. Mother, are you not partial yourself? This single remark left the Empress Dowager speechless. For she truly was partial. Of his 2 sons and 6 daughters, her favor fell solely upon the crown prince, who carried the Qi bloodline. The outcome of this banquet now held no bearing on me. Rising to bow to my father, I turned to leave the banquet hall. Yet my steps halted as I passed Meng Wanhong. She likely hadn't anticipated such a grand spectacle. At the brink of confrontation, my father had diffused it with 2 casual remarks. Meng Wanhong's eyes burned with undisguised resentment. Her gaze fixed on me with a hint of ferocity. I didn't mind. I curved my lips into a smile, patted her shoulder, and leaned close to whisper in her ear. Miss Meng, your timing in setting the stage still needs work. You should spend more time learning from those 2. I gestured with my eyes toward the Empress Dowager and Consort Duan. After all, 13 years ago, their grand performance not only forced my mother to miscarry, but also left her despondent and bedridden for a year afterward. Her young life cut short. 4th sister didn't linger long at this birthday banquet either. The moment I stepped out, she followed close behind. Sis, you look kinda handsome today. Her wow wound like a mountain road. Her eyes sparkled, seeming even more excited than I was. Without waiting for my consent, she raised an eyebrow and winked at me. Sis, don't sleep tonight. I'll take you to see a grand spectacle. She said she'd show me a play, but the way she arrived that night was peculiar. Like a thief, she leapt down from the roof in her night attire. And she wasn't alone. I spotted Yi Mingzhou, whom I'd met briefly at the welcome banquet, also clad in night attire. I was taken aback. What's going on? 4th sister patted her chest. My new recruit. Tonight, he'll be your human mount. I couldn't tell which word had offended him. Yi Mingzhou, whose ears had already turned crimson, suddenly flushed bright red across his entire face. His body stiffened as he nodded emphatically, yes. He scanned the sky, the ground, the rooftops, but never looked at me. This pairing felt odd no matter how you looked at it. But 4th sister offered no further explanation. She hurried me into night attire, then had Yi Mingzhou hoist me onto his back. With a leap, we soared onto the rooftop. I never knew 4th sister possessed such agile prowess. The deserted streets at midnight were occasionally patrolled by Imperial guards and night watchmen. To evade them, she darted through alleys and leapt across rooftops, her movements appearing more graceful than a swallow's. It was Yi Mingzhou, carrying me on his back, whose breathing grew uneven and whose steps became hurried. After he twisted his ankle again and nearly tumbled from the roof, I couldn't help but frown and whisper, Young General Yi, am I such a hot potato? His footsteps halted abruptly. Your Highness. What do you mean? His voice tightened, the muscles in his back stiffening, digging into me painfully. There was no time to dwell on such details. I raised an eyebrow. with such unsteady feet. I'd think you wanted to throw me off and kill me. Yi Mingzhou fell silent. Only the hand clasping my knee stiffened further. The night breeze carried a faint chill. Yet beneath the fabric, the person beneath me burned with an alarming heat. Just then, fourth sister halted. She pointed toward a distant rooftop, signaling for quiet and caution. Then, crouching low to avoid the guards in the courtyard, she leapt lightly onto the roof. At the critical moment, Yi Mingzhou finally pulled through, effortlessly carrying me across. Beneath the lifted tiles lay a spacious room. Inside, the voices of two conversing figures sounded eerily familiar. Tanger, you said Lu Shijing would be utterly disgraced, that the Empress Dowager would kill him. But seeing this today, how can I believe you? Her delicate, boneless hand slid up the man's back. Pei Lang, don't be impatient. The heavenly book foretold it, Lu Shijing will surely die, and you will ascend to the throne. See? It says I'm the heaven-ordained maiden, born with the phoenix's destiny. I can turn any situation around. Look at me now, I've become a county princess and returned to the capital in glory. Tanger, Pei Lang. The two meeting secretly in the room. Who else could it be but Meng Wantao and Pei Yanli? Pei Yanli and Meng Wantong were unaware. Three pairs of ears now listened from the roof. They discussed with reckless abandon how to seize the great Yuan's throne. Meng Wantong, especially, boasted brazenly, the emperor is mediocre, the crown prince incompetent, the chief family's in-laws hold sway, and the court is riddled with parasites. Once the Western Rhone campaign begins, the great Yuan will lose 3 cities in succession. The eldest prince will fall in battle. The emperor will be so enraged he falls gravely ill. And the crown prince will ascend the throne. Then you can raise the banner of rebellion with the evidence of the chief family's embezzlement of military supplies. After all, the imminent loss of those 3 cities will bear the chief family's signature. Pei Yanli sighed softly, easier said than done. Who knows how long we'll have to wait? Soon. The heavenly book foretold it. 2 months after Lu Shijing's death, war will erupt in the Western Rhone. Just wait. Pei Lang. They spoke in rapid succession. I recognized every single character. Yet when strung together into sentences reaching my ears, each word became utterly baffling. Only upon returning to the mansion did I finally grasp the meaning. No wonder. I'd wondered why Meng Wantong, who owed me no grudge, targeted me relentlessly the moment I returned to the capital. I'd assumed she resented my betrothal to Pei Yanli, but never imagined they were waiting for my death, plotting for the throne? The celestial book. How intriguing. Once I pieced it together, I felt like laughing. Now, consider fourth sister. Gone was the enthusiasm she'd shown when taking me to the theater. Now she stood in a corner, twisting her sleeve, like a mute quail. Pitiful, yet endearing. Her demeanor clearly hinted she was hiding something from me. And it wasn't small. I narrowed my eyes and beckoned her closer with a finger. Fourth sister, is there nothing you wish to say? Like, how did you know where they were meeting in secret today? At my words, her expression froze. After hesitating for a long moment, she closed her eyes and steeled her resolve, as if preparing to face death. Because the heavenly book mentioned by Meng Wantong was written by me. Sis, you might not believe this, but this world is actually a book. And the female lead wasn't originally Meng Wantong, it was me. Fourth sister said that this world I'd lived in for nearly 20 years was merely a book within her own world. She had traveled through the pages, originally destined to be the heroine of that story. At 5 years old, she would have slipped out of the palace through a dog hole and been abducted by traffickers. Only when I left the capital to convalesce in Jiangnan would she, bearing a slight resemblance to me, be mistaken by Pei Yanli as my stand-in and brought back to the capital. She also said that all those experiences, being protected by the Crown Prince and Pei Yanli, saving the Empress Dowager, and being granted the title of county princess were meant for her to live through. And I was the vicious female supporting character in the book. After repeatedly targeting her, I would reap what I sowed. Ultimately, the overprotective Empress Dowager would end my life with a jug of poison wine. The celestial book Meng Wanhong spoke of was a record I kept after crossing over, documenting major events and key timelines. Like when you left the capital. When I met Pei Yanli, the Empress Dowager's peril during Buddhist rites, and the timeline of the Western Rome's invasion and Pei Yanli's eventual ascension to the throne. Fearing I'd forget, I even jotted down numerous recipes, planning to earn money with cosmetics and gourmet food once I grew up. Her explanation wasn't obscure. I grasped it quickly, though utterly preposterous, like an Arabian Nights tale. Yet when applied to fourth sister, it seemed entirely plausible. But why was what you wrote in Meng Wanhong's possession? Mentioning this made her seethe. When I slipped out of the palace through the dog hole at age 5, I buried that notebook. But that Meng woman somehow dug it up. She deliberately follows the plot lines, copying everything you do. How infuriating is that? I didn't feel angry, just puzzled. According to your story, you were supposed to be the heroine following these plotlines, the one marrying Pei Yanli to become empress. Why didn't you take that path? Hearing this, she froze. Then she suddenly burst into tears. I'm a fresh college grad who endured 4 years of grueling early mornings. I refuse to suffer 2 more years of begging for scraps. I could have been a princess, marrying 8 men. Why settle for one husband and fight other women? Besides, that scheming, manipulative Pei Yanli? Not my type at all. I only like sweet younger puppies who call me sister with all that cuteness. Me. I think I sort of get it. But I don't really get it. Yet fourth sister didn't give me time to think it through. She was crying her eyes out. Snot and tears everywhere. She didn't even bother using her own clothes to wipe her face. Just tugging pitifully at my sleeve. Sis, your death is a crucial turning point. 2 months after you die, the Western Rome will suddenly declare war. Though the current situation differs slightly from the notes, it's mostly following the original storyline. What should we do? I don't want the Empress Dowager to kill you. Wah. She buried her head in my chest, her sobs pounding in my ears. I couldn't pull her away. I gave up, rubbing my throbbing temples. I tapped the tabletop lightly with one hand. After a moment's thought, I ordered her, go. Bring your younger brother in. Fourth sister lifted her head, cheeks flushed, confused. But she obeyed. Yi Mingzhou, clad entirely in black, entered with a frown. Perhaps it was because he'd overheard Pei Yanli and Meng Wanhong's conversation. His expression was grave. I ordered. Expressionless, kneel. Without hesitation, he dropped to his knees with a thud. At least he's obedient. But I wonder if he's any good. Pushing aside my surprise, I rose and stepped before him, lifting his chin with a commanding gaze. There is a matter, perhaps treasonous, perhaps deadly, but it could save the people of the 3 great cities of the Yuan dynasty. Are you willing to do it? This gesture carried a measure of scrutiny and pressure. Many proud individuals, especially men, would instinctively resist or flinch. But Yi Mingzhou did not. Not only did he show no hesitation, his cheeks flushed crimson. In the depths of his eyes, an emotion I couldn't decipher flickered. This servant is willing. Whatever your highness commands. Climbing mountains of blades or plunging into seas of fire, I will do it all. Meeting his burning, excited gaze, I paused, momentarily stunned. The next instant, I couldn't help but curve my lips. Since that's the case, they want me dead, don't they? Then I'll die once. Just for their benefit. I died. The cause of death matched the celestial script. I drank a cup of wine bestowed by the Empress Dowager. That wine was obtained on the day of the Qianshen festival, when fourth sister, in the Empress Dowager's palace, remarked, "This sacrificial wine is meant only for sister. If others learn of it, they might think grandmother does not wish for sister's health and longevity." Drinking the Qianshen wine symbolized peace and smooth fortune. This custom had existed throughout the Great Yuan dynasty. Naturally, the wine contained no poison. It was merely an illusion created by my fake death potion. White mourning banners hung over the princess's residence, with my fourth sister's masterful acting and heart-wrenching cries. Not a single soul suspected me. On the night of the burial, Yi Mingzhou, who should have long since left the capital, smoothly dug me out of the coffin. Outside the city walls lay a courtyard my mother had secretly purchased years ago. After settling me there, Yi Mingzhou departed without delay, leaving the capital without pause. I, too, sent a sealed letter to Minhua City, addressed to my eldest brother who had garrisoned the western Rome for many years. My death plunged Father Emperor into profound grief. Though the Empress Dowager denied involvement, Father Emperor still severed ties with her. Yet he seemed willing to grant her and the Crown Prince one final chance. The Emperor did not revisit the old case of Chunyang City's fall. Instead, he used the newly exposed scandal, the consort Duan's brother forcing women into prostitution and seizing farmland, as his weapon. But the Qi family's imperial in-laws showed no remorse. To shift blame, they made wild accusations, attempting to pin the guilt on others. Thus, for nearly 2 months, everyone in the capital lived in constant fear. 2 months later, a war report arrived from the frontier, delivered by an 800-li express courier. Then came a second, a third. Each one declared the Western barbarians had launched a surprise attack, the city gates had fallen. The final dispatch brought the shocking news: the eldest prince had fought desperately against the Western barbarians but was cut down by a hail of swords. The emperor fell ill. Though indecisive and far from a perfect ruler, he was, without question, a good father. Hearing the news of his eldest son's death during morning court, grief and rage overwhelmed him, causing him to collapse and lose consciousness on the spot. He remained bedridden and unconscious for a full fortnight, showing no signs of awakening. Without the emperor's presence, the court descended into utter chaos. At the Empress Dowager's behest, led by Qi Jia, the ministers invoked the principle that the nation could not remain without a ruler for a single day. They petitioned for the crown prince to ascend the throne. The crown prince readily agreed. Yet before he could even sit upon the dragon throne on the day of his coronation, he was seized by Pei Yanli and the imperial guards. Immediately afterward, a letter denouncing the crown prince swiftly spread from the palace to the streets. I have read this letter denouncing the crown prince. It meticulously detailed the evidence of corruption and embezzlement of military supplies by the crown prince, the Qi family, and over a dozen other ministers. This corruption led to the fall of Chunyang City 3 years ago, the recent loss of 3 border forts, and the death of the first prince in battle. Pei Yanli now possessed a legitimate cause for action. He confined the crown prince to the imperial clan house, placing the Empress Dowager and consort Duan under house arrest. Every minister implicated in the indictment of the crown prince was swiftly apprehended and imprisoned by him. For the following days, he remained secluded within his quarters. He presented himself as utterly disinterested in power, incorruptible and upright, wholly devoted to vindicating the people. This turn of events surprised me not at all. I also suspected he must have further moves planned. Sure enough, on the 3rd day of the crown prince's imprisonment, the Imperial Astronomical Bureau suddenly announced that the purple star had brightened, heralding the birth of a wise ruler. The very next day, Minister Meng knelt before the Marquis of Huayan's residence. He repeated the same argument: the nation cannot remain without a ruler for even a single day. Citing the Pei family's founding role in the empire alongside the founding emperor, He insisted the Pei clan was uniquely qualified to lead the nation and urged Pei Yanli to ascend the throne. Court ministers swiftly rallied behind this stance. Indeed, it happened swiftly. After feigning refusal several times, Pei Yanli reluctantly set the coronation date, 3 days hence. As if fearful others might not recognize Meng Xiang's role in his rise. He even designated the empress, Meng Wanzong. Yet his hopes were dashed. For just as he donned the imperial robe and led Meng Wanzong toward the dragon throne, a piercing cry of "The emperor has awakened!" shattered the coronation ceremony. "What's this commotion? Guards! Seize this insolent fool and drag him out." Chancellor Meng frowned, his voice sharp with fury. The young eunuch, tears and snot streaming down his face, unable to tell if he wept for joy or sorrow, still risked his life to deliver the message. The late emperor, no. The Emperor Jia Yuan, he has awakened. The emperor has awakened. Pei Yanli and the Meng family were stunned. Yet at this juncture, there was no turning back. Fortunately, the imperial guards were under their command, and the palace remained firmly in their grasp. Now, they could only press on, the ceremony must continue. Gritting his teeth, Pei Yanli ascended the dragon throne. When father and I arrived, this was the scene that met our eyes. Pei Yanli, clad in the dragon robe, and Meng Wanzong, resplendent in her finery, sat enthroned in the hall. The ministers exchanged glances. A third of them knelt alongside Minister Meng, chanting, "Long live the emperor! Long live the empress!" This spectacle was more thrilling than any grand drama I'd ever witnessed. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Well now, both the dragon robe and phoenix robe fit perfectly. Must have been preparing for quite some time. It wasn't just Pei Yanli. The moment I spoke, all eyes turned to me, each face frozen in utter shock. They looked more stunned than when they'd seen my father. Alive and well, not a trace of illness in sight. Of course, Meng Wanzong was the most agitated. "Lu Shijin? You're not dead?" Her face was frozen in disbelief, her gasp nearly breaking into a shriek. Pei Yanli was smarter than her. He didn't ask. His gaze darted back and forth between me and the emperor. "You deliberately feigned illness and death?" I didn't answer. The emperor answered for me. Feigning illness? Had I not fallen ill, I would never have known you all harbored such treacherous ambitions. What? Is the dragon throne so comfortable? Must I personally come to fetch you? The emperor commanded respect without raising his voice. But Pei Yanli didn't move. Truthfully, if he stepped down now, there was still a way out. After all, he'd only exposed the Qi family and the crown prince to the world. His ascension was the result of repeated pleas from Minister Meng and the court officials, a reluctant choice. But having come this far, how could he possibly accept defeat? Meng Wanzong and Prime Minister Meng were equally unwilling. Pei Lang. At this juncture, retreat is impossible, it leads only to death. True. The crown prince has proven unworthy, and the eldest prince is dead. Now the imperial guards and the palace are under our control. If we stand firm today, won't history's narrative be written as we dictate? Seeing this, what remained unclear to the other bewildered ministers? There was no purple star at all. Pei Yanli. Meng Diyuan. You are. Before he could finish the word rebellion, the minister's throat was slit. With his death, rebellion became an undeniable fact. Without hesitation, Pei Yanli ordered in a deep voice, "Guards! Assassins have entered the palace and are holding Emperor Jiayuan hostage. Seize them immediately, regardless of casualties." The imperial guards sprang into action, surrounding me and my father. Sharp blades pressed against our throats. The slightest pressure would cost us our lives. Yet neither I nor my father flinched. Indeed, how history books record events is always decided by the victors. But Who says you've won today? I curved my lips into a defiant smile. Provoked by my grin, Meng Wadong was the first to lose his composure. What do you mean? I mean, I faked my own death. The Western Rome's surprise attack. The loss of 3 border cities. My eldest brother's death in battle. All mirrored the heavenly book's prophecies. How could it possibly be real? The words heavenly book caused Meng Wadong and Pei Yanli's expressions to shift abruptly. How do you know about the heavenly book? Impossible. My men sent word back, your imperial brother is clearly dead. Both spoke simultaneously. Yet their concerns were entirely different. I didn't answer. 2 fingers lightly pushed aside the sword pressed against my neck. I curved my lips into a smile. Or perhaps you'd rather ask how I entered the palace? Rumors spread with a single breath. The Western Rome's assault was war, our counterattack was war. My eldest brother's acting skills were no less impressive than my 4th sister's. With just 1 letter explaining the entire situation, he masterfully deceived Pei Yanli's eyes and ears. The sky is vast. The road is long. My bet was that Pei Yanli and Meng Wadong would blindly trust the heavenly scriptures without double-checking. I also bet their attention was fixed on the imperial court and Minghua City. They had no time to spare for the Dragon Roar army in the east. This time, the dog hole proved invaluable. Pei Yanli and his men believed the entire palace was under their control. Little did they know that a small detachment of the Dragon Roar army, secretly returning to the capital, had already slipped into the palace through that dog hole known only to my 4th sister. With this sword thrust, the blades of the other imperial guards swiftly shifted their aim. In the blink of an eye, the rebels within the hall were subdued. The situation reversed instantly. Only then did Pei Yanli and Meng Wadong spot Yi Mingzhou, clad in imperial guard armor. The Dragon Roar Corps? You actually recalled the Dragon Roar Corps? Me? As if I had that kind of power. Yi Mingzhou stole General Qing's tiger token and secretly recalled them. But I didn't explain. I looked up at the sky. Let me calculate. At this hour, 4th sister should have led her men to open the palace gates. The 10,000 imperial guards awaiting your command must have surrendered by now. As if to confirm my words, 4th sister bounded in cheerfully. Sister, it's all settled outside. Seeing the scene within the hall, she nodded decisively, impressive. You moved swiftly too. The expressions on Pei Yanli and the Meng family's faces were priceless. Especially Pei Yanli, his defiance was palpable. How dare you? Our founding emperor fought alongside your Liu clan to establish this empire. Why should the Liu family sit upon this throne? Meng Wadong refused to believe she'd lost so easily. Frantic, she struggled to break free from her restraints. Impossible. I am the heaven-mandated princess. After today, I should be empress, second only to the emperor. Above all others. Liu Shijin. It's you. You ruined me. A soft click sounded beside her ear. 4th sister frowned. Wait. Sis. You're getting too into character here? You found a notebook and followed its instructions. Suddenly you're the heaven-mandated princess? What does that make me? The one who wrote the book. The heaven-mandated mother? And you. She turned to Pei Yanli. Her gaze sincere. You may not know this, but your great-grandfather was homosexual. None of you descendants are his biological children. Those few sentences felt like a lifetime for Pei Yanli and Meng Wadong to digest. After a long silence, Pei Yanli finally found his voice. His eyes locked on me. You knew all along? If so, why didn't you stop me sooner? Why didn't you stop him sooner? Naturally, if I deposed the crown prince and dealt with the Qi family, I'd be accused of betraying my own kin. But once he exposed the Qi family's corruption, I could take him down with righteous justification. Pei Yanli wasn't stupid. Seeing the smile on my lips, he instantly grasped the crux of it. He gritted his teeth. After over a decade of knowing you, I never imagined you possessed such audacity and cunning. His words rang with an uncertain tone. Was it admiration or mockery? Clearly, he refused to accept this. For as he was being led away at knife point, passing right by me, he suddenly lunged, broke free from his captors, snatched the blade, and lunged toward me. In the blink of an eye, I heard fourth sister and Yi Mingzhou cry out in alarm. Sister! Be careful! Your Highness! Be careful! It wasn't me who needed caution. It was Pei Yanli. I was ill, but not weak. Practicing martial arts to strengthen the body, this was a truth I'd known since childhood. But others don't know. Especially Pei Yanli. After Yi Mingzhou leapt to seize his long sword, Pei Yanli's body froze in shock. His eyes widened in disbelief as he stared at his own chest. There, a dagger was embedded. The dagger was plain, sharp enough to slice through iron like mud, with only a translucent sapphire set in its hilt. How is this possible? Why wouldn't it be? When I emerged from that fire at 9, I swore I'd never let anyone hold my life in their hands again. My voice carried. Too bad he couldn't hear it. He was dead, dying with eyes wide open, seeing his body crash to the ground. The Meng family father and daughter finally fell silent, no longer daring to utter a word as they were led away to prison. Only after everyone had departed and the dust settled did the emperor dismiss the others, keeping only me behind, faking death, mobilizing troops without imperial decree, drugging me. Tell me, what wouldn't you dare do? It was clear this time he was furious. His beard was trembling. But I wasn't afraid. I shrugged. There are plenty of things I wouldn't dare do. Like actually dying. You dare talk back? With me lying there? Weren't you afraid they might actually kill me? Furious, Father Emperor grabbed the inkstone beside him and hurled it at me. I didn't flinch or dodge, and the inkstone passed perfectly by my side. Glancing back at the inkstone embedded in the door panel, I felt a touch of resignation. You wouldn't really hit me. Yet you insist on putting on this show. Isn't that a waste? I sighed softly. I picked up the inkstone, now broken into 2 pieces. They wouldn't dare kill you. If they did, how could Pei Yanli still be a wise ruler? If he wants to secure his position, he'd at most give you some slow-acting poison, letting you lie for half a year before dying. Seeing his anger rising again, I hurried to placate him. Rest assured, I had fourth sister replace all your medicines. What you've been drinking are the tonics my mother specially concocted for you years ago. I only added a sleeping potion, no side effects. Father's expression remained grim. Is this what angers me? He snapped. What angers me is your death threat. Forcing me to confront the Qi family and abandon the crown prince. Mentioning the crown prince and the Qi family made my temper flare too. A crown prince who cannot discern right from wrong. Who indulges his maternal clan and corrupt ministers, should such a crown prince remain unchallenged? To let him keep the throne until the entire realm bears the Qi surname? Father, forgive me for saying this, but you have truly failed as emperor. Your own imperial guards fight for others. Your own ministers devote themselves to propping up rivals. Dare you claim today's crisis isn't born of your relentless indulgence? I paused deliberately, then let out a cold snort. Father, you are the emperor, not merely the Empress Dowager's son or the crown prince's father. You are the sky above the people of the Great Yuan, their very justice. How can you face the innocent souls who died unjustly when you refuse to act ruthlessly when it is needed? All these years of tolerating the Qi family have already cost my mother her life and claimed the lives of an entire city's people. Now you wish to tolerate these parasites? Do you find the holes in your empire insufficient? These words struck the emperor's core. He froze. Yet his anger did not flare anew. His gaze traced my features, as if seeing others through me. After a long silence, he sighed softly, his shoulders slumping. You're right. I have failed as emperor. I see things far less clearly than you do. The words left his lips, and he seemed to age 10 years in an instant. But I knew he had finally made up his mind. The Qi family, Minister Meng, the Marquis of Huayan, corrupt officials, rebellious courtiers. Now, he would spare none of them. In that moment, I felt like laughing. A genuine laugh. Me? I'm not the insightful one. You know, I'm just settling personal scores. I spoke with father for a long time. When I emerged from the hall, dusk had already begun to fall. The setting sun bathed the palace in vast swathes of fiery crimson. Amidst that sea of red, two figures stood and sat, waiting quietly by the gate. Hearing footsteps, fourth sister jumped up abruptly and trotted over. Sis, father didn't do anything to you, did he? Her anxious expression was rather endearing. I couldn't resist pinching her plump cheeks. What could he do to me? Kill me? Hearing me joke, she relaxed and exhaled deeply. Behind her, Yi Mingzhou, whose muscles had been taut the entire time, also gradually loosened. Only then did I notice the sinister, winding wound on his wrist. Recalling how he'd snatched the knife when Pei Yanli tried to kill me, I let out a soft click of my tongue. My brows knitted together involuntarily. Useless. Didn't you see my dagger? Didn't you know to dodge? He stammered. I saw it. In the fading sunset glow, the man kept his head bowed, unable to meet my gaze. But his cheeks and ears flushed crimson in an instant. This scene triggered a sudden flashback in my mind. I instantly remembered why he looked familiar, that year when bandits had kidnapped me and locked me in a thatched hut. A boy, not much older than me, his face bruised and swollen, had peered at me through the door crack. What had I said back then? Right. I think I scolded them. I cursed the bandits for having hands and feet but choosing to steal instead of working. I cursed him for joining bandits at such a young age, telling him he should use his strength to earn military merit instead. That year, I'd already made many young nobles and noblewomen my age in the capital cry. But that child didn't cry. His face just flushed bright red, and his eyes sparkled. So, he was that child? Sister, what are your plans now? Fourth sister's sudden voice snapped me out of my thoughts. I withdrew my gaze, seeing no reason to hide it from her. I'm heading to Minhua City, with the Western Rome likely to strike again. I wish to see the eldest brother. Clinging and coaxing was little sister Four's signature move when asking for favors. Sister, will you take me? Please take me. I can sing and tell stories. With a cute little sister like me, you won't regret it. Hearing this, Yi Mingzhou's eyes lit up. He chimed in, Your Highness. Could you take me too? Take you? Why take you? Are we that close? I raised an eyebrow, my gaze skeptical, spotting the wound on his wrist. I couldn't help but frown. Go bandage that up immediately. It's an eyesore. Yi Mingzhou didn't move. As if struck dumb, his gaze suddenly burned with intensity. His expression was blank and dazed. This look of his was rather peculiar. My fourth sister beside me shifted her head, her eyes suddenly darting downward. Whatever she saw made her jump up, yanking her hand over my eyes. She squealed and yelped like a mouse whose tail had been stepped on. Ah, sis. Don't scold him. That pervert. You've made him hard. Footsteps grew frantic, hastily retreating into the distance. Fourth sister, will you shut up already? My head throbbed. An old ailment threatened to flare up. I had a premonition. The journey to Minhua City would bring no peace. The end.